Hello viewers, welcome to All Force e-learning classes. Today I am here to take up my session 3 of 9th standard social studies second lesson, that is the natural realms of the earth. In this session I want to explain to you in detail about the work of water. That is, work of water is nothing but about the work of the river, how the river will form different forms, how the different landforms will be formed due to the work of the river. About that I am going to explain to you. That is, in my previous sessions I said to you about the first order, second order and third order landforms because of some natural concepts, natural elements, and in this lesson I want to explain to you about what are the landforms that are formed due to the work of the river. Right, now come to the concept. River. All of you know that river originates in the high mountains. Take for example Ganga from the Himalayan mountains, Brahmaputra from Himalayan mountains. Indus also starts. If you come to our South India peninsula rivers, they start from the Western Ghats section. I mean to say rivers, when they start from the mountains, slowly, they will be slow. Then after moving to some kilometers, they will move with a great speed. They will be very swiftly. They will move with a great speed. With that speed, they will comes down. They will descend through the steep slopes. That is, first rivers will originate in the mountains. After taking some kilometers, the river will move with a great speed. They will descend towards the slopy areas. And with what speed they flows means, their pressure will be so much that even they cut the mountains vertically. As a result, what will happen? A deep valley will develop. And this valley will be very wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. And these are called as a V-shaped valleys. Like this they will be. V-shaped valleys between the two hills. See here. That is, when the river is coming, when the river is sloping down towards the down, when it is flowing out through the steep slopes, it exerts a great pressure on the mountains and cut the mountain vertically. And with this, what will happen? A deep valley will develop. If you look at this deep valley, it is in the V shape. And it is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. And very easily, I want to say that low land between the two hills. These are the two hills. This low land between the two hills, this is called as V-shaped valley. For example, Narmada Valley we can take. So this is one form how the river will makes out, right? And second form I am going to say, this is called as gorge. Gorge is nothing but in some cases, that is, here the river will cut, even the mountains means very hard rocks they will cut out, and this type of valleys will be formed which are wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. But in some cases what happened, the rocks will be so hard, very tough enough, that rivers, they will cut very narrow valleys they will make out, not wide valleys like this. They will make out very narrow valleys and forms into gorge. Easily I will say that gorge is nothing but a narrow valley which is present between the two hills and the river is running through it. Like this. It will not be wide like this. It will be like very narrow. These are the two hills. It is very narrow. Very narrow it will be. So gorge is nothing but, that is, when the river is flowing, in some areas the rocks will be so hard, so tough enough. Under such circumstances, when the river force is not suitable to cut out that rock, the river will make just a narrow valley only between the two hills. So that narrow valley which is made out between the two hills through which the river is flowing, that is called as gorge. Example for this is Bison Gorge, Andhra Pradesh. And next one, Indus Gorge, Kashmir, are the examples for this. Here I want to explain to you how these gorges are useful for the construction of dams. How they are useful for the construction of the dams, I want to say to you. They are very narrow valleys. First, narrow valleys through which a river is running through it. And rocks are too tough enough. There steep slopes will be, rocks are too tough enough, and these are very beautiful places, the places which are very convenient to construct a massive dams, we can say that. Because of its narrow character, this gorge, it will maintain same width at the top and at the bottom also. Whereas what I said here in the V-shaped valley, it will be wide at the top and it will be narrow at the bottom. But here it will not so. It will not be like that so. It will be same. It will be same. It's the same width at the top and the bottom also. And the rocks are so tough enough and it is narrow. So to construct a dam, it is one of the convenient landform, we can say that. And the rocks are very tough enough, no? So what we can say that the dam will be very tough enough, and it is less expensive also, because only less amount of concrete will be used in order to make out some shapes, some constructions over there. And moreover, here the rocks are very tough, no? So they prevent floods. That is, they are flood proof they will be. And massive lot of amount of the water can be stored if the dams are constructed on such gorges. Very good amount of water will be stored, floods will be prevented, and the water will move from the mountains and flows, exert great pressure. If that will fall onto the turbines, it will make the turbines to rotate, and very good amount of the hydroelectricity power will be generated. So in this way, these gorges are suitable for the construction of the dams. Let me brief it. Gorges are nothing but when the rivers are flowing, in some cases what will happen, the rocks will be very hard to cut. Then rivers will make out a narrow valleys, and that narrow valleys between the two hills through which a river is flowing, that is called as a gorge. Here the gorge width will be same at the top and at the bottom also. And the example, Bison Gorge and the Indus Gorge in Kashmir, Bison in AP Godavari river. And they are suitable for the construction of the dams. The reason is, this is steep slopes will be there, very hard rocky nature it is, and less expensive, with less amount of the concrete and cement we can construct out, and a massive dam, massive reservoir we can construct, a lot of water we can store, and especially flood proof. We can prevent floods, and we can generate hydroelectricity power also. In this way, this landform which is created by the river, it is useful to man in many ways. And the third landform is called as canyon. Canyon is nothing but, the canyon is also same like this only. That is, it is characterized by the steep side slopes. Steep side slopes will be there, and it flows. Water will flow with a great speed here also. And this for canyon, it's canyon, how it will be, it's same like this only. It is very wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. Sides will be, steep slopes will be there. Steep side slopes will be there. Water will move like this. If you look out the Grand Canyon of the Colorado picture, you will understand it very easily. Like the steep slopes, that is, sides will be very slopey, inclined like this, the river will flow out. So it is one of the characteristic, it is one of the formation. Grand Canyon of Colorado is example for this. And next one is plunge pool. Right, all of you know that the waterfalls are huge, numerous in number, and they will fall from the mountains. This is a common one, we all of us know that, waterfalls. The movement of the water from the mountains to low level areas are called as waterfalls. You might have observed, you might have visited many waterfalls also. Take for example Kuntala waterfalls, Neredigunda waterfalls, Pochara waterfalls. Like that, some waterfalls are there even in our Telangana, also in the Adilabad district. Right, Bhimanipadam near Srisailam, like that some waterfalls are there. Right, when that waterfalls are coming, you might have observed that they will fall from the high mountains to the low latitudes. But at that place where the waterfall will fall with a great speed, then a pool will be formed out. A pool of water will be formed with a very great width. That pool of water which is formed out by the waterfall from the mountains called as Plunge pool, we will call it as plunge pool. Okay, did you get? Plunge pool is nothing but numerous waterfalls will flow from the mountains to the low latitudes, and that waterfall will fall onto the ground with a great speed, and they will break even the rocks beneath the crust also, and they will form out a big pool with a great width, and that is called as plunge pool. Here I want to say some examples to you. That is what I said now: Kuntala waterfalls, Pochara waterfalls, and what we can say, Bhimunipadam waterfalls, Bogota waterfalls. Like this many waterfalls are there. And how these waterfalls, and in the entire world if you look out, the highest waterfall in the entire world is Angel Waterfalls. I think all of you know where it is located, Angel Waterfalls. Do you have any idea? Let me answer for the question. Why this is called the highest waterfall in the entire world means its height is 979 meters. That is, at a height of 979 meters, it falls onto the ground, and it is present on River Charan. C-H-U-R-U-N. It is in Venezuela, that is South America it is. Right? So the second highest waterfall, it is located on River Tugela, T-U-G-E-L-A, Tugela waterfalls it is called as. And it is present on the River Tugela, and this is present in South Africa, south side of Africa it will be there. Right? Then come to our country. When we come to our country, the highest waterfall, okay, I have to say this, second highest waterfall, its height is from 945 meters, it will fall on to the ground. The highest waterfall in our country is, that is Kanchikal waterfalls. It is present on River Varahi River, Karnataka. From a height of 455 meters, it falls onto the ground and forms out a plunge pool. Right? These are that is highest waterfalls. First highest waterfall is Angel Waterfalls on River Charan. Venezuela is the country, and the height is 979 meters. Second highest waterfall in the world is, that is Tugela waterfalls on River Tugela, and it is present in South Africa, and its height is 945 meters. Right. In India, the highest waterfall is Kanchikal waterfalls. It is on River Varahi, Karnataka state, 455 meters. Right. This is about the waterfalls. Here I want to say something. How these waterfalls are useful to us. I want to say some points to you. Waterfall. First, what is the main characteristics of this waterfall? They will fall from the mountains with a great force. They will fall onto the ground. So this great force which is falling onto the ground, that is useful in order to rotate out the turbines, and with that hydroelectricity power will be generated. That is the first use. And these waterfalls will fall onto with a great pressure. They will exert great pressure. They will make out a way to form like V-shaped valleys also. V-shaped valleys, gorges also will be formed with these waterfalls. And next one is, waterfalls means one of the most beautiful spots there. They will attract the tourists, not only in and around our areas, even from the outside also, tourists will be attracted to our country. If the foreigners will come to our country, automatically our country will earn foreign exchange from them in the form of dollars and euros, etc. That is, foreign exchange will increase because of this beauty of the waterfalls also. That is the third use. And the fourth use of this waterfall is, the waterfall will move with a great speed from top to down onto the, then it sends out, it releases out oxygen into the water. That oxygen is very much useful for the fishes which are present in that pool. They will breathe in out. That is, they are helpful. Even that oxygen which is created by this waterfall is useful for the fishes. So if you get a question that how are waterfalls useful, explain. First you define what is waterfall. The movement of the water from the topmost mountains which fall onto the low latitudes and form a pool of a great width called as plunge pool or waterfalls. Example: Kuntala waterfalls, Pochara waterfalls, Bhimunipadam, Bogota, etc. etc. Right. How are they useful to us? First, the waterfall will fall onto the ground with a great speed. Then That speed, that pressure, that force is useful for the turbines to rotate and to generate electricity. That means first use of waterfall is useful in the generation of electricity. And second is they are useful in the creation of V-shaped valleys, gorges, etc. Right? Third one is they are the beautiful places, no? So they will attract the tourists to visit that particular area. Either what is that, our nation tourists or outsiders also they will attract. If the outsiders will come, automatically we will get income, foreign income. And last one is that waterfalls will supply oxygen to the fishes to breathe in. So in this way, this landform of the river is useful to us. And highest waterfalls in the world, highest waterfalls in India also I said to you now. Right. Next landform which is formed by the river is called as plain. Plain is nothing but a flat sweeping landmass which is very fertile. A flat fertile land, in easy words let me say, a flat fertile land is called as plain. This plain, how it will be formed means, when the river, while it is flowing out, all these are formed by the river only, no? So when the river, while it is flowing, when it enters a slope area, then its force will be reduced, that the river's water will not have that much force to carry out the particles continuously. Then what will happen? The rivers will deposit the material which they are carrying from many kilometers. That material will be deposited on the banks of the river. That deposited material will be fine alluvium silt particles there. That particles will form into plain, very fertile area. When the rivers will get floods, that silt will be, that is divided into, they will be cut into. Otherwise that alluvium deposit will be deposited like that only continuously, and very beautiful, very fertile plain will be formed. So plain is nothing but the landform that was formed by the river in its course. When the river is forming out, when the river is flowing out, along with its flow, it will bring fine silt, fine sediments, fine silt, alluvium deposits, fine soil particles it will bring. And when the river slopes down, it loses the capacity to carry out the material continuously. Then the river will deposit that fine silt on the banks of the river, and in this way plain is formed. So plain is nothing but a flat fertile area. Now here on this many questions can be asked, that is, compare the action of the river in the mountain areas and the plain areas. Compare the action of the river in mountain areas and the plain areas. How the river in the mountains? In the mountains, the river will move with a great speed because it wants to slope down. It exerts great pressure and its work force will be so much that it cracks the mountains vertically, and V-shaped valleys will be formed, gorges will be formed, plunge pools will be formed. In such a great speed it will move out. In that way, river will work in the mountains. But whereas when we come to the plains, at the plains the river slopes down and it becomes slow down, that is, it can't carry the heavy loads of that particles. It deposits that alluvium deposits and forms into plain. So for that question you can answer like this. And one more question, how is this plain useful for human habitation? That is, how the plain is useful for us, how we can utilize the plain, like that when the question is asked to you, then you have to answer. First, plain, how it is useful to us? Plain is nothing but a flat fertile area, that is rich alluvium deposits. Here I will explain this topic with the help by taking example of North Indian plains of our country. Right. In North India, when the Himalayas were forming, at that time a deep basin was developed. That basin was filled by the deposits of, what is that, Ganga river and the Indus river. Some lakhs of square kilometers of plain is formed there. How it is useful? If you observe, there the density will be more. In Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Odisha, that areas if you record, density, population density will be there. More people will live there. Why that plains are suitable for human sustenance? How they are useful to us means, it is very fertile area, alluvium deposits. According to the estimates that That plain is suitable to produce nearly 100 varieties of crops. That is agriculturally very well developed. That plain is agriculturally very well developed. Not only our Indo-Gangetic plain, if you go anywhere, any plain example if you take out, we will get the same points. As the soil is very fertile, it is suitable to produce very number of great variety of crops there. And you better know that if a place is industrially developed, automatically it will supply very good raw materials to the agro-based industries like cotton textile industry, jute textile industry, either oil making industry, flour milling industry, like that. To many agro-based industries, this agriculture will supply the raw materials. That means the plain, because of its fertility, it will be agriculturally developed, industrially developed. If these two sectors are developed, automatically third, service sector will also be developed. Many people will find employment in this particular area. Many people will find employment directly and indirectly from agriculture and industries. That's why more people will migrate to these particular areas. As when the three sectors, agriculture sector, industry sector and service sectors are developed, automatically in that area, transport, communications, education, hospitality, infrastructure facilities will be developed to a great extent. All these are suitable for the human sustenance. So in this way, plains are helpful for the human sustenance. If we compare the living style in the plains and the mountains, if you look out, in the plains and in the mountains, if you look out, mountains. In the mountains, if you look out, who will live in the mountains? Araku Valley. You might have visited several times. You might have saw the tribal people. Tribes will live in the mountainous areas. That is, aboriginal tribes will live there. Their living style, if we do observe, take for example, agriculture also. The type of agriculture is Podu type of cultivation will be there. Ancient traditional methods they will follow. Their dressing style, food habits, their language, everything will be like a nomadic style they will be. But whereas we the people who will live the plain, the living system will be different, no? Language will be there, education will be there, medical facilities are there, good infrastructural facilities are there. Everything we will be updated towards advanced technology. So in this way, very good variations will be there in the living style of mountainous people and the plain areas. So in this way, plain is useful for the human sustenance. This is about the plain. Then meanders. What is meant by meander means, when the river is flowing continuously, one more thing I want to say here about the plains. Plains are very much useful to us. That is agriculturally, industrial, everything. But one problem is there. If the rivers will get floods, in this plain area, then the problems will start. Government will face lot of problem in order to evacuate the people from that particular areas. And here you should note down, that is, what are the destructions caused by the floods also you should come to know. That is, when the floods will occur, automatically first roads will be disturbed, low-lying areas will be drowned. The people who are living in these areas, they have to lose out their homes. They should migrate to somewhere else. They have to they have to stay in the temporary shelters which the government will arrange for them. That is, they will lose out their house, their agriculture area, and there is no safety for their life. Roads will be disturbed, railways will be disturbed, electricity, huge amount of damage will be caused due to the floods. When the plains will get floods, then the problems arises. Otherwise, they are very much useful for the human sustenance. Then meander. When the river is flowing continuously, it will deposit out the alluvial deposits on the bank of the river continuously. The deposition will goes on. With this continuous deposition of this floodplain, what will happen? The height of the plain will increase. Then automatically what will happen? The rivers will start changing some turns. It will start diverting. It will start taking some courses. Like lot of curves it will take. The river will flow like this. like this, it will start taking different directions. It will start like this and it will take many curves and it will flow like this. Like a snake it will move. And this movement of the river is called as meander. This movement of the river is called as meander. Now, next landform which is formed by this river is oxbow lakes. What are they? Okay, the river is, here I will say the example. Here the river is flowing like this. Like this it is flowing like a what is that? Snake shaped. It is flowing like this. So it is flowing like this, it is flowing. Then what will happen? The water which is coming with a great force here, they will deposit the materials here on this. With this what will happen? Here this line will extend, that is it will move. It will make out like this. Then again the river will flow like this and it will deposit the deposits like this. Then again what will happen? The course will be changed like this. It will become narrow. Again it will be deposited like this only. Slowly after this process what will happen? It will become like this. Like this. Then afterwards the river will flow in this direction and it will float like this only straightly after some time. It will float like this only by moving out. Then here what will happen? This part, it will be separated from the main course of river. It will be separated. This part will be separated from the main course of the river. And it is like a horse boat. This is called as horse boat. It will be separated from the main course of the river and a separate formation will take place and the river will take diversion and it will flow like this. So this formation by the river is called as horse boat because the shape is like horse boat only. Right? This is oxbow. Next, delta. This is the last formation of the river. That is, here when the river, all of you know that when the river, take for example I will show you. Like this if you take, and here Western Ghats, right? So here this part you take, this part. Here river Godavari will start from the Western Ghats like this. It will flow in Maharashtra and enters into Telangana and Andhra Pradesh like this. It goes on and right here it falls onto this Bay of Bengal. River Krishna also like this, river Kaveri here, Penna here, like that they will flow on. And here, that is here, in this area, that is here also rivers Mahanadi will flow on. Forming a delta, here a delta is formed. Krishna delta, Godavari delta like this. The rivers before joining, the rivers while flowing, before joining into the river, at the mouth, before joining into this Bay of Bengal, into the sea, they deposit out the remaining material here and forms like a delta. Delta is nothing but when the river reaches the sea. The fine material which it did not deposited before it will deposit here at the mouth of the sea. Right. Then it forms like a delta. So if one landform will be formed, a delta, Krishna delta, Godavari delta, like that deltas will be formed. And these deltas are very fertile in nature. Delta plains they were called as. They are useful for very good agricultural products. These many landforms will be formed by the river in its course. That is, when the river starts from the mountains, it flows with a great speeds. It even cracks the mountains vertically and the V-shaped valleys will be present. V-shaped valleys are nothing but the valleys which are present between the two hills, and this V-shaped valley will be very wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. Then when the river is flowing continuously like that, in some areas the river can't cut the hard rocks, then the river will take a narrow cut, narrow valley it will be formed, and that is only called as gorge. That is the river, that is a valley which is present very narrow, through which river is flowing is called as a gorge. Example, Bison and Indus gorges we can take. And I have explained to you how they are useful for the construction of the dams also. Right, and these gorges, their width will be same at the top and at the bottom also. Right, canine is another characteristic feature formed by the river. It do possess very steep side slopes will be there, and it is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. Grand Canyon of Colorado is good example for this. Plunge pool, it is nothing but the waterfall. The waterfall, there will be numerous waterfalls on the mountains, and they will be by exerting great pressure they will fall onto the ground, and a pool of water with a great width will be formed. They were called as plunge pools. And the highest waterfall in the world is Angel Waterfalls. It is on the river Charan in Venezuela, and the height is 979 meters. The second highest waterfall in the world is Tugela Waterfalls, and river Tugela, it is in South Africa. Now let us say about India's highest waterfall, that is Kanchkala Waterfalls. It is on river Varahi in Karnataka with 455 meters. And this, how they are useful, also I have explained to you. Next, coming to the plain. What is a plain? How is it useful for the human sustenance? And what is the difference between the living style of the people in the mountain areas and plain areas? And how the flood plains will affect us. It is also completed. Then meander, that is the river, when it is flowing out, it deposits a huge amount of the alluvium, and it will take out many turns and it will change its course like a snake. That flow of the river, that formation is called as a meander. And oxbow, just now I have explained here. And last one is delta. It is nothing but when the river reaches the sea, whatever it did not deposited before, that rich alluvium deposits, it will deposit at the end, that is at the, what we can say that it's a mouth forming a delta. Right? These are the different forms worked by the water. These many landforms will be formed. Next topic is about the work of glaciers. Glaciers, right. In very cool regions, if you look at like Himalayas, continuously snow will fall. That snow, after some process, what will happen? It will be toughened and formed like ice. This ice will move slowly. When it reaches the warm area, automatically it melts. And it will become the source for the rivers. Take for example, Gangotri Glacier. From that river Ganga started its origin. That is a glacier. Glacier is nothing but that is a movement of a mass of ice. Movement of mass of ice is called as glacier. Easy wording, floating mass of ice. Floating mass of ice is called as glacier. That is, it will happen only, it will be present only in the cool areas. In the cool areas like Himalayan, mountainous areas maximum. In almost all the mountainous areas of all the continents, these glaciers are present except Australia. Right? So in these areas what will happen? Because of the cool climatic conditions, snow will fall, it will form into ice, then when it reaches to the warmer area, it will melt and form a source for the rivers to flow in. This floating mass of ice is called as glacier. And this glacier, it will move very, very slowly, very laziest to flow it will take on. Very slowly it will form. Here one doubt. So here, what is that? Do we find glaciers in our surroundings? We will get a doubt. Not at all. Why? Because glaciers will be present only in the mountainous areas, that too in the areas where the snowfall is present. In Telangana, we are experiencing 40 plus degrees Celsius of temperature. Even in the month of January, which is the coolest month also, at that time also, the temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius. It's not possible. We never experienced the snowfall here in our Telangana up to now. When there is no snowfall, how do we can expect glaciers, mountains, ice mountains? So it's not possible. It is not present in our surroundings, right? So this glacier, what will do? When it is moving very slowly, when the glacier is moving very slowly, it will lift some particles of rock, some rock particles it will pick out, and it will transfer them to some place. That is, when the glacier is moving, like this very slowly, it lifts some pieces of rocks and transport them to some places. This picking up the rock particles and transporting them to some places by the glaciers, that process is called as plucking. Okay, did you get my point? That is, when the glaciers will move very slowly, few centimeters, that's all they will move. When the glaciers are moving very slowly, lazily they will move. Not like rivers. Rivers will move with a great speed. That's why they cut the mountains and formed V-shaped valleys. But whereas these glaciers, they are lazy, they will move with a very slow speeds. No? That's why wide open will be formed out. Like U-shaped valleys they will form out. And these glaciers, while moving, they will lift a piece of rock particles and they will transport to some other place. And this process which was made out by these glaciers called as plucking. Plucking, you should remember this point. Next, these pieces of rocks plus moving of ice together act like a sandpaper. As a sandpaper will separate out wood particles, in the same style what will happen, these two, that is this glacier act as abrasive, like a scrap paper it will act out and it will erode the bedrock also. This dual process of plucking and abrasion, both together, these two are responsible for the formation of the U-shaped valleys. Here you should note down a point that rivers will form out V-shaped valleys, glaciers will form out U-shaped valleys because of the dual process of this plucking and abrasion, these two process. Right, so the glacier will move slowly. As the glacier moves and it becomes water, that water loses capacity to carry out very big particles of rock. They will leave out that big particles of rock and later they will form into big boulders. And then the glacier will move like that only by taking some sediments, some sand particles, some pebbles, some cobbles it will take on its bed, on the glacier's bed. So here the glacier brings only pebbles, cobbles nothing but fine rock particles, fine stones we can say. Pebbles, cobbles, some sand it will carry, etc. will carried by the glacier. This debris is called as a till. So till is nothing but the rocks, the cobbles, the pebbles, the sand, etc. which is carried out by the glacier called as till. So that glacier, while moving very slowly, while moving out slowly like this only, what will happen? It cannot carry this debris. It can't carry this debris. It will deposit it in and around this glacier. And that will lead to the formation of moraines. So what is meant by moraines means a mass of rocks, sediments which are carried by the glacier and deposited called as moraines. This is a work done by the glacier. Here the question is, glaciers are present from the areas where the temperature is very slow, where the snowfall is possible, there only glaciers will be there. And snowfall will be there and ice will melt. That melting water will form a source for the rivers like Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra, etc. Then they will flow like that only. This movement of the ice, this mass movement of ice or floating mass of ice is called as glacier. So here this glacier movement will be very slow. Rivers will form V-shaped valleys and these glaciers will form U-shaped valleys because of the plucking and abrasion process and the laziest movement of the glacier. And these glaciers, when they melt into the water, becomes water, they don't have any force, any pressure to carry heavy particles. So they will leave the big rocks here. Later they will form into boulders. And again, what now this glacier consists of? Its bed consists of just some sediments. And what are they? Some pebbles, some cobbles, some sand like etc. will be present. And this debris is called as till. And this glacier, it cannot transfer this also up to its end. It will deposit in and around its area. That is a rock mass, a mass of rock and sediments which are deposited by this glacier is called as moraines. This is the next formation of the glacier. So in this way, because of work of water, these many formations will take place. because of the glaciers, still moraines and U-shaped valleys will be formed out. And the continuation will take in our fourth session. Thank you. Have a nice day.